Hey everybody, Robert Dunt, ArtTop10.com, and here I am at Impressionists on Paper at the Royal Academy. Let's go and have a look at what we can see. Huge amount of restrictions today on what you can and cannot film. So anyway, let's see what we can film. Okay, so here's a little glimpse of the first gallery. As I said, loads of things you cannot film or only film from a distance, so it's got to be a bit careful what we look at. But yeah, basically, works on paper by Impressionists, Degas, Toulouse-Lautrec. And this is a little glimpse of the first room round this way. You got, let's see, you got a nice little drawing by Renoir there, charcoal on paper. That's pretty cool, like that. Can't really linger on any of these too long, so you can write in complaining that I haven't stayed long enough with them, but if I stay too long, the whole thing will get taken down. Even Gazale, the bride, quite like that. Let's drift over here a little bit. Bertha Morisot. Interesting, isn't it? Another Bertha Morisot, that's nice. And a Renoir, a nice one with a black sort of shawl. Curious little Degas there. Intriguing. Quite like this little pic by Armand Guillaumin, Landscape of Trees and Rocks with Colour Test 1872. Pastel on paper, rather nice that one, I like it. Quite a nice little boudin there with all those colours, quite dark and moody, but cool. Loads of Degas down here, these ballerinas. Oh, it's quite contemporary, that one with the green look on it. Two dancers resting down to this one, which is one you can see in London normally. Anyway, it's great painting though, isn't it? Look at that, it's so beautifully done with just that white over the brown, raw umber, burnt umber background. Kind of really weird Degas with this woman with a pair of binoculars. It's kind of strangely disturbing. She looks something more like out of a Star Wars film. Not really sure what to make of it as usual. Spent the first 10 minutes just trying to work out what I cannot film as usual, which is always tiring. By the time you've done that, you're a bit drained. Always feel weirdly unwelcome at the Royal Academy press views. They don't really want you at all. Don't know, strange. Does it feel a bit slight? You got all those Degas women that you have 100 times, the ballerinas. The picture of the woman in the window is so much better. Really beautiful painting that. Quite like the little seascapes at the beginning by the different people. I do love the Impressionists, but I'm not sure this is going to blow your mind on room one. Just beginning to think that I kind of got a bit fed up with Impressionists, as I've just seen so many of them. They don't necessarily blow me away, but then of course you get to these Pisarros, and the Pisarros are just absolutely fantastic. Look at that. It's just an amazing watercolour. And you got this stunning picture here, apple picking black and white chalk on buff paper. Just so beautiful. Look at it. He's just only filled in bits of it, left it all blank in the background. He's got those beautiful shadows under the people. And then you got white. As ever, just got abused by a security guard for going too close to the pictures. The Royal Academy is the most horrific place to come and try and vlog. They just love abusing you for it, and it's so depressing. Makes you hate every single exhibition you ever come to here, frankly. Got a few Gauguins over here. Can't move left or go near a Gauguin, you're not allowed to film. Actually, I can do this. Is a view on the left one, but only from a distance. Quite a lot of the stuff I've actually enjoyed here is not the Impressionists you'd know. That looks like a Signac on the left, but it's not. But they're actually quite refreshing, these other ones. Like that one on the right with a squiggly line. Interesting kind of watercolour Van Gogh over there. We'll swoop past. Down here you got quite interesting, this guy's right in front of it at the moment, interesting Paul Signac drawing, which I'll try and glimpse in a moment. There it is, one down the bottom there. I do like Signac, I think it's really interesting with all those little dots. Okay, so I'll give you a little distance browse of this room. This is nothing you cannot actually film. There's a few things from the distance, but It's not too bad. Actually met a nice security guard who was friendly to me about what I couldn't film in here and showed me what it was. So not everybody at the Royal Academy is evil. Right, let's have a look at a few of these. My favourite painting is actually over here. Again, you think you could be fed up, and then you see the Cezannes, and they just blow your mind away. I still can't go too close, but from a distance, they are rather wonderful. And I've got to say, this, I think, is my favourite picture in the whole thing. This crazy picture of a dressing table. It's just so neat and beautiful with those harmonious, different violets inside it. Absolutely stunning. Let's have a little mooch around. I'm a colourist with line, Degas. Interesting quote, aren't they? The Degas are, I mean, that drawing is extraordinary, isn't it? That pastel. They are extraordinary, the Degas. These are much better. I can't really bear those ballerinas, but these two ballerinas are all right. Coming on down here. I see. That's an impression I've never heard of. Federico Zandamengi, Study of a Woman from Behind. That's that Degas vibe. Then you've got these crazy nutcase pictures by Odilon Redon. I think you can go to a weird house of his in Paris. But these are quite weird, aren't they? I think they're more kind of spiritual mad stuff. Around to a bit of Cézanne. And yeah, interesting. What do I think about this room? Don't know. I guess you'd say it's quite a patchy exhibition. I mean, sort of got quite interesting things. You've got that like Toulouse-Lautrec picture over there of those two people together. We're not allowed to film. It's okay from a distance, isn't it? And then this one here of that woman, which is kind of freaky, by Toulouse-Lautrec. There is good stuff in it, but it's quite a strange exhibition. I don't quite get it, really. So this is a gigantic piece of paper telling you what you can and can't film. Everything in red you cannot film at all. Everything in orange can only be filmed from a distance. I was being mangled because I spent most of the time wandering around the exhibition trying to work out what you can and can't film. I'm not entirely sure what the reasons behind it are, but there must be some commercial reason. I suppose the one positive thing about the Degas is it does show you what you can achieve with pastels, the sort of intensity of colour. You've got amazing blues in that one on the left over there. That one's more muted, and you've got this quite extraordinary yellow here. And then over there, that one in the distance here, you've got really good greens in that one. So you have got amazing what you can do with pastels, but pastels are more complicated. They've always got to be fixed and, you know, sprayed and then kept in the half dark, really. I suppose oil paintings are far more resilient. Amazing the way in this painting. Cezanne's just literally contrasted sort of bright, vibrant green with what almost like earth's or subtle violet colours. It's quite extraordinary, sophisticated sort of colourist painting in reality. Quite amazing. You got to really go for the colours in this Pisarro. It's quite extraordinary. Now it's light, diluted snow colours. It's just amazing. Look at those three different things. Look at the different things as Pisarro does, and how amazing each of them are. Quite extraordinary. Well, these quite interesting Van Gogh drawings here, which, even though they're early, still have a sense of insanity to them. The perspective in that one, the way it flies at you, it's got a real madness quality to it. Well, anyway, leaving the exhibition has got abused yet again for accidentally. I had been checking that stupid sheet about what you're allowed to film so much, but actually I've begun to just enjoy looking at the pictures for a moment, and of course up pops beside you somebody telling you off for filming something, and then pretty much asked me to delete it there and then in front of her from my phone, which is not going to happen, but I will take it out before we get home. What is the reason for this obsession? I have been to every single gallery pretty much in every country in the world, and I've never experienced what you experience at the Royal Academy. And I think it is probably because most of these exhibitions are actually commercial exhibitions, but they don't really want to point out the fact they're commercial exhibitions. If you went to a commercial gallery, you'd be far less surprised by the restrictions, but in a gallery that implies it's here for the public and probably gets dramatically funded for what it does for the public, it then behaves like a commercial gallery, which I find strange. Anyway, it's hard. It makes it exceptionally hard to review this thing in a non-judgmental fashion because it's so intense, this thing, about what you can or cannot film, and the sort of real disliking the fact you're even there, frankly. Anyway, that's just the Royal Academy Press Review experience. Always leaves you with a horrible taste in your mouth. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, there's a review of the thing. Me summing it up in a second somewhere. Sorry, I was still on a rant about the Royal Academy. The other thing is, I mean, you do realise that everybody is going to go into that exhibition, whether or not you're going to take photos, and they're going to take photos, and they're going to send them to all their friends. I mean, I think the people who are worried about the pictures being photographed should just not exhibit them, because people will photograph them, people will film them, and they will be dispersed absolutely everywhere, because that's obviously what happens all the time at the moment. Anyway, mystical. Anyway, I mean, the Tate also, there's things you can't film, but it's always done in a slightly more, balanced fashion. The Royal Academy has a real vibe on it about these things. Anyway, so sorry, I haven't been able to show you brilliant images of all the different things here, but it's quite tricky when you're spending most of the time working out what you can or can't film. Really quite limits your ability to actually get into the exhibition. Anyway, I find it hard to describe what I think about it in reality. It's not bad. It's not amazing. It's a bit bitty. It's probably worth coming for the Cezanne, worth coming for the Pisarro, which are absolutely beautiful. The Degas are interesting, but I don't find the Degas anything like as moving as the Cezanne and the Pisarro. So yeah, it's okay, but I wouldn't dash here. But it's interesting. It feels in reality like loads of Royal Academy stuff I've come to recently, where it's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff jumbled together. Not entirely sure how or why they've put it together. It's like they want to do something interesting that's going to be commercial and attractive to people, but they can't quite get hold of all the stuff they want, so they just dig around and find a collection of things that don't really work together and then hammer it together. The work on paper thing's kind of elusive, I'd say, in reality. I suppose it is all on paper, but it hasn't told me anything else about the Impressionists I didn't know beforehand. Anyway, there are good things here, but come for the Cezanne and Pisarro, and maybe the Degas. And maybe actually the other impressions you haven't heard of so much, which are also quite interesting. Anyway, that's it from our top 10 for this one. Hadar Viz, I've been saying bye-bye. Please like and subscribe.